This is the Umbrella Academy podcast on TV Podcast Industries. We're discussing Umbrella Academy Season 3, Episode 8, Wedding at the End of the World.
Look, when I went to the commission, I had a conversation with my 100-year-old self. And my last words were, don't save the world.
Don't save the world?
Don't save the world.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Is it? Well, whatever we're doing is not working. All we ever do is save the world for a day, pat ourselves on the back, and then everything goes to shit again.
Yeah, maybe we're the problem.
Oh yeah, us.
So, wait, your big plan is no plan?
Exactly. Conscientious objection. Why the hell not? We've tried everything else. Look, maybe this is just what the universe needs. I say embrace the apocalypse. See what's on the other side.
What if it's nothing?
Then it's been nice knowing you all.
Welcome back, fellow Academy alumni, to our discussion about Episode 8 of Season 3 of Umbrella Academy, Wedding at the End of the World. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow alumni, or brollies, whichever you so choose. I am one of your other hosts, John.
And rounding out this trio, I would be the guy on stage, much like Five, giving a bad rendition at a wedding of karaoke of some form. I am Chris. And it would be very bad. It would be a terrible rendition of whatever I sang. But there you go.
Yeah. We can attest to that, Chris. We can attest to that. Thanks so much for joining us for our coverage of Umbrella Academy so far this season. Just a couple of episodes left to go. 3 more episodes to go. And a bit of a break this episode to have a wedding.
Yes. I just thought this was really sweet. And I think it really showcased, Luther's softy powers as well here. You know, he's quite, he's really nostalgic here and being quite cute as well with his new wife. So I really enjoyed this. I liked just the whole concept. I think one of the panned shots were effectively the Hotel Obsidian is just on a rock. It seems, I think at this stage it's floating in space.
It seems like,
but it's still there. It's still got an atmosphere clinging to that rock. And, I just really kind of enjoyed the idea of this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be going into spoiler-filled detail about our discussion of this episode of Umbrella Academy. As always, if you haven't seen it, go away, watch it, come back, and we'll talk about it as we go through the episode.
Yeah, but should we jump straight in with our spoiler-filled discussion by Derek? Do you want to tell us who gave us what, where, when, how?
Absolutely. The show was created for television by Steve Blackman, developed by Jeremy Slater, based on the comic book series by Jared Way and Gabriel Ba. This episode was directed by Paco Cabezas. Guys, do you recognize the name Paco Cabezas?
Is it like Paco Rabanne?
No, it's not. It is a director we've talked about multiple times before, and you'll never guess where we've talked about him. He did 4 episodes of the original series of Penny Dreadful, plus 2 episodes of Penny Dreadful City of Angels, which we covered on this here podcast on TV
Excellent
Podcast Industries.
Stuff.
Yeah. Do you actually know? I would have guessed that because it was in front of me. So you said I would never have guessed, but I would have guessed because I've read my notes.
Yeah, you would have been reading my notes, Chris. You're not supposed to read those. Those are for me to read.
For you,
shock you guys and surprise you guys. But isn't that cool? Paco Cabezas from Penny Dreadful. One of the most prolific directors of Penny Dreadful, doing 4 episodes of one show and 2 episodes of the sequel series as well. So, unfortunately cancelled after 1 season. So we don't know what happened with all those characters.
No, we really don't.
Unfortunately, but great to have him on board for the wedding episode of Umbrella Academy. The teleplay for this episode was done by Jesse McKeown and by Aeryn Michelle Williams. Jesse McKeown, this is the 4th episode that Jesse's done for the show. Michelle Williams, we spoke about her earlier on in the season because she did the episode Kugelblitz, episode 4, season 3, and was a former staff writer on the show back through season 1 and season 2. So their powers combined to write the big wedding episode for this season of the show.
Excellent.
And not like the red wedding. It's more of the drunken wedding.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with their synopsis for season 3, episode 8, Wedding at the End of the World?
Sure. In 1918, Reginald Hargreaves starts construction of the Hotel Obsidian. At its grand opening, he attends the event with several mercenaries who he sends to their death down the secret tunnel in the White Buffalo Suite, as they are all slaughtered in Oblivion. In the present, with the universe collapsing around them, the remaining members of the Umbrella and Sparrow Academies take shelter at the Hotel Obsidian for a day of romance, awkwardness, and debauchery. As Luther and Sloane announce their wedding, a reinvigorated Klaus and Reginald arrive at the hotel, but none of the other siblings, except for Klaus, who has made a new connection with Reggie, are interested in the man they used to call father. Luther asks Viktor to be his best man and leaves a bitter Ben out of his bachelor party, who is called out for his sullen attitude by Sloane as she tells him to lose control and stop being the leader. Elsewhere, and undeterred by the views of his brothers and sisters, Klaus coaches Reginald to be more fatherly at the wedding reception, where, to the shock of everyone, including Klaus, Reggie delivers a moving speech. As the wedding reception progresses, Viktor, at the request of Luther, tries to reconcile with Allison, who refuses to forgive him. Klaus and a drunken Ben begin to bond, and as the evening and universe draws to a close, the families, in the absence of Allison, sit drunkenly in the courtyard as the Kugelblitz consumes the city around them. But ever the optimist, Luther remarks that he finally has the family he has always dreamed of. Mm-hmm. As the partygoers begin to disperse back to their rooms after the wedding, Five drunkenly overhears Reginald making a deal with an unidentified person in the White Buffalo Suite.
Yes, an interesting final tag at the end of this episode, because you kind of feel, by the way the episode was going, that they could have just put the closing credits on this and had like one final explosion that kind of could end the series, which is kind of my big moment from the episode. The big takeaway from this episode is this felt like a goodbye for all the characters. We had them all getting together to celebrate a wedding. It's almost what you do when you're saying goodbye to a series, and what you're saying when you're saying goodbye to characters. You get them all together to reminisce and reunite and make new friendships, like bringing Ben on board. We had that moment, as you mentioned in your synopsis, John, of Ben continually wanting to be number one and Sloane challenging him, going, well, now you're number one of one, because Sloane's joining the Umbrella Academy. She's getting married to Luther. So as far as she's concerned, she's a member of their family unit, and Ben's number one of one. So for me, as I say, my big moment from the episode is that takeaway, that it just felt like a big goodbye. We don't have a confirmation of a season 4. And I know there's 2 more episodes to go, but throughout this, with everybody giving up, with Five saying all we've done for the last 28 days now is try to save the world, and things are just getting worse and worse and worse, with Allison saying every time we think we've resolved the apocalypse, my life gets worse and worse and worse. It's like as if the Umbrella Academy are saying our central premise for our show is an apocalypse comes around and we solve it. We're not going to do that again. This is the end of the Umbrella Academy.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think the only thing, I completely agree, this felt like an end of season, possibly end of series kind of episode in many respects. As you say, it just needed the final Kugelblitz pulse, really. The only thing that would have been the big question, if that had have happened, is we've seen Five as an old man in that chamber at the commission. And so something else is untold. Maybe that it's not necessarily inconsistent with that, but certainly something is left untold. And even just with Five essentially saying in the bar, look, we've failed. We're too late. We've only ever made things worse. What have we achieved? We just keep going round in circles, saving the day, but immediately going back into some chaotic time problem. Although I do like Luther's response to Five when he says, what have we achieved? Luther, again, in a lovely, soft way, is like, well, we've made some friends along the way. He's really happy about this. It's just really good little banter. Absolutely. And I mean, effectively Five saying the plan is there is no plan. And that's what I've taken from my older self back at the commission when he said, don't try and stop it.
Absolutely.
So that even felt final there. One other thing just on that little kind of bit with Five, I did like the fact, given the plan to contain the Kugelblitz in the last episode, how, you have the Kugelblitz, physics stats being banded around, but we have Diego's plan here, where he effectively says, well, we need to get it to the hard-on, where effectively we can now just, baseball bat it back out into space. I'll let you do the things and then we just sort of out to space. And with Ben's line as well, it's Hadron, not hard on, you moron. Great stuff.
Very, very
Loved
good.
it.
Very good. I want to make sure I'm clear that I'm not an idiot here. I know there are 2 episodes of the show coming up. And look, I haven't seen them, but it's very likely they're going to stop the apocalypse, right? I get that. I think my point really is just the episode felt like a farewell. So that, and an underlining of, we know every season has been, we've had an apocalypse, the Umbrella Academy are dispatched to solve it, even with all the stuff that's going on. So the show just felt like it was possibly saying goodbye to that idea. If there is a season 4, which is entirely possible, I wonder if there's going to be a very big change up to that basic framework that they've had for the 3 seasons. And is that what they're saying here in the writer's room, that we're not going to be up against the apocalypse next time?
I think so. I think there's only so many times, and they've started to repeat it over and over and over and over again. Every single one of them are saying that. Like, Five wants to retire. Allison is consistently losing something to the point she's becoming the villain.
Yeah.
Klaus has come full circle to become the a glue and almost like a driving force of a group versus the alcoholic, drug-addled,
cult leader.
Cult leader. Well, he became the cult leader, but the first point,
he
the
did.
drug
Sorry,
the junkie. Like, it's all. This episode pumped the brakes, and to a point where I question why they were doing it when they had such great momentum in each episode going forward, moving it through. But by the end of the episode, you understand why they are. Because it is, I think it is very much, it's like, we can't continue, like, there's only so many times you can do the same thing slightly different that you're not going to start losing people's attention.
Yeah, exactly. And interestingly enough, in a slightly meta way, it almost addresses one of our pieces of feedback from Coffee and Vodka, who mentioned this same thing, that yes, the writing's great, all that, but it's doing save the world from the apocalypse, and this is the 3rd season of doing it. And I think this was back for feedback on episode 5, and he's just saying, I really love the show, but in a sense, as he didn't really want to provide any more feedback because it's that cyclical aspect of this show, and in that kind of weird, strange way, you have the characters then talking about that as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting when I was watching it, because my mind went back to that piece of feedback that we got as well. So I thought that was good. And it is clearly as well, as you say, by the end, and given we've had the sneak peek at Hotel Oblivion, we've had it referenced by old number 5, and that we are the rest of the series will be something to do with Hotel Oblivion. Absolutely. And dare I say it, the cockroaches with the green blood that are appearing everywhere. I have to say, at the wedding, whilst the guy in reception is taking the photographs, he pops one of the bulbs from the flash, and a cockroach comes out. And for a minute, I thought the wedding was going to get spoilt, and this was somehow going to climb inside Sloane's ear or something, and she was going to be sort of eaten from inside or something.
Mind control.
Some mind control or something something else that was equally horrific was going to happen. It's not to say it didn't off camera, but certainly we don't see anything kind of result from that escaped cockroach in the sort of grand hall of the hotel.
Yeah, I think I was expecting a big moment of drama but they allowed the entire cast to go through the whole wedding and relax afterwards with these comments of we can't keep fighting the apocalypse. So it just almost felt like we're setting you up here. We got 2 more episodes. We'll resolve this one, and then we'll go off into the sunset.
In fairness, though, I guess the big event is happening outside of the hotel, so it is all laced with, as you say, nostalgia, the reminiscing of the times that have been, even despite how short it will be, new starts. We get new Ben is created, and so on. So I think all of that kind of stuff, is kind of linked to the fact that the universe is dying outside.
Absolutely. And lots of other great moments in the episode. But that's my major point from the episode, just that it did feel like a big goodbye to the characters. Chris, do you want to take us on with your big moments from the episode?
Sure, I'm just going to steal the biggest of the moments. I'm going to do a John on it.
Excellent.
There you go. I'm taking the wedding itself. Because this is fun. And again, it came as a bit of a, okay, you're going to do this. Yeah. You're going to propose last episode. And you're like, okay, makes sense. Let's see how it goes. To the wedding this episode, then you get the stag do, or the bachelor party, for those who, from America or across, there is no hen do, or bachelorette, because we obviously see Sloane sitting by herself.
Yeah, just to make her own wedding dress in 24
and
hours.
It's quite a dress.
It is, yeah.
Quite
it really is.
What a seamstress. Maybe she has another hidden power.
But then you get the wedding itself. And look, this whole wedding, it's just... I said it a few seconds ago, it slams on the brakes, but it does it for a legitimate reason. In that, what you're talking about is every character gets a moment. Like, you get Klaus trying to essentially talk everyone around to going along with Dad's plan. Yeah. You get Ben coming round to becoming new Ben and getting a talking to. You get Five letting go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you get Luther and Sloane getting there as much as it can be, happy ever after.
I absolutely love how Klaus is referencing that, because Klaus is the master of ceremonies. He's the one that's doing the wedding for them, and I love his way of marrying them, where it's like, do you take this man as your lawfully wedded husband for the next 24 to 48 hours? And Five calling out in the background going, well, give or take a day. Love that they've incorporated that into the wedding as well. It's really good fun.
And then the only two who really don't, to the same extent, is Viktor and Allison. That this is the true ending, and this is like the nail, if you will, in that Allison is our villain. She is a bad guy. Like, she is no longer going to be the sibling part of the Umbrella Academy, the Hargreaves family. She is done with them. She is done with the adventuring. And I see what you mean, talking about how this felt like it could be the end. But the problem being, and I think one of the reasons where, like, they may not want to, is because you've turned one of your good characters into a baddie. And they are progressively... She either has to quickly redeem herself in 2 episodes, which I don't know if they're going to, or she's going to go full on, like, evil Joker, like, and I mean maybe eviler Joker, because Joker's pretty bad.
I'm certain that there would be some people that will watch the show and would completely understand the motivations of what's going on here with Allison. She explains it really well. The writing that's done on the character is done really well, where you kind of go, you know what? Actually, Viktor does take advantage of everybody else a lot and allows other people to say, you were okay doing what you were doing, and Allison is the one that's getting punished from her perspective. And she explains that really clearly, that she's not willing to put up with the BS from Viktor anymore. Allison was Viktor's biggest supporter right from the start. They became friends, and look what happened.
Yeah.
She was lied to. Viktor has tried to protect someone that really shouldn't matter to him as much as Allison's child mattered to her. You know, all of this stuff is coming out here, and Allison is really just saying, this is it. This is over. I'm not willing to put up with it. I'm not part of a family. We're not together. You were the closest one to me, and now it's over. So, whether she's gone full on villain or not, definitely a justifiable situation that she's in, particularly with Viktor right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a tough one. Justifiable is such a subjective matter in this. And this is why this show is even still in their slow down episode is still great, because it's making you question. It is like, that's how you know it's good writing. It does make you sit down and go, oh my God, like, am I agreeing with the villain? It's The Joker, that film, where you're there looking at Joaquin Phoenix going, this guy is a psychopath, crazy person, but I agree with him in aspects. Like, what, like, if you can make a villain empathetic and you can get someone to emotionally connect and start to understand parts of their perspective on this, then you're not really creating a villain, you're creating a complex character. Who potentially can do bad things.
And I think earlier on in the season when I was going, oh, Allison's going to become the villain by the end of the season, I think I was almost expecting her to be maybe bumping off the members of the Sparrow Academy and nobody can guess that it's her, or she's, you know, stroking her chin going, I'm going to take you all down. You know, I was expecting her to be the big bad, and really she's not. She's killed Harlan. She had a reason for that. She's justified it. And now she's saying, I'm out of this family. Yeah. She's not undercutting everybody else in the family at the moment. I was expecting her to turn actual villain by the end of the season because of where we saw the trajectory going earlier on the season. I was expecting her to be the one to go, everybody in these two families, the Sparrows and the Umbrella Academy, is against me, and I'm going to use my powers to attack all of them. I think that's what I was expecting by now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Allison has just had enough, and she has no energy for it anymore. She's literally exhausted herself, and it's to the point that, you know, when Viktor asks her to forgive him, she's just like, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
And it's almost because she can't sort of get to that position, but also she's just, she's done. She's done with it. I mean, it's almost like her last act is being at the wedding, because of the family and what she's gone through with them, and she will do that. It's almost being polite because she leaves pretty quickly. And I mean, that's the thing. The wedding ceremony has this absolutely loveliness of Sloane and Luther. I mean, I love it where they all get up to dance. The ceremony with Klaus, and it is just, you know, I pronounce you married as shit. Viva la apocalypse. But at the same time, it just has these, you know, moments of fun. I mean, even with Allison, where she's kind of stuck with Ben, it's like the two outcasts,
the two grumpiest people in the room,
and she's just like, Ben, you're just trying too hard. You know, relax, have a drink, and again, it's like, because I've tried too hard previously, I'm not going to do it again. You know, and to the tension of Reginald coming into the, you know, into the hall for the wedding reception. And so it's like, it's a really nice mix of almost like the perfect wedding, but with all these issues happening just underneath the kind of whole thing. It's just simmering away underneath, and there's, you know, some pretty sort of honest conversations with people. There's fun, there's loveliness, there's the tension, and there's effectively the breakup of Allison and Viktor here as well.
Yeah.
And that all kind of culminates in a beautiful death poem, but we'll get to that in a second. But it's more just the sitting, watching the end of the apocalypse, which is a nice, it was a nice kind of piece. Just everyone's sitting there looking up at the roiling, rolling skies and the death and the destruction. And you're like, yeah, like if they had have done a pop, fade to black, or a pull out, you do a pull out, keep going out until it's like just a little pinprick, and then just do a really comical, like Monty Python, like a finger comes in and pops a balloon. Would have been fine. I would have been down for that. But they didn't. They do give us another episode. And so I just really enjoy it. Like, it was a slowdown. I keep saying that, but it's because it just, the action, the plot progression as a whole very much slowed down in comparison to other episodes. But it did give a lot of the characters a lot of room to breathe and get some character growth, or at least, not growth, but I suppose depth that we didn't have.
Well, yeah. And by the end of the episode, we are officially one group of people plus Alison. Right. So that's where we are by the end of the episode. There were some really good touches throughout here. I did obviously mention some of this episode feeling like a real goodbye. I thought the karaoke session that they had, that's formed quite a significant part of the show. Throughout the series, we've had karaoke a lot. We've had dancing along to tunes quite a lot, but I thought the karaoke session at the bachelor party, where it kicks off with Five saying, "We've had a hell of a run," and then they sing, "We've had the time of our lives," him and Klaus doing duet, and then everybody else comes in. You're going, well, this feels like a goodbye moment from the cast. They get another big dance-off moment, you know. There's also, what I thought was a really nice touch towards the end. We have, Mr. Roddo, the manager of the hotel, coming in to do the DJ moment, where he's going, "This is the big dance tune for everybody to get on the floor and go and dance." And we don't hear the tune. We hear this really somber music almost as everybody's having this fun session together. So
that's it.
I thought it was a lovely idea for that moment, but it was interesting the way it was framed.
Well, that's it. It's that great context of stood at the precipice of the universe ending and everyone in Hotel Obsidian about to end. What revelations come to you in that moment? You know, it's from the fact that Diego is absolutely hell-bent on, we can win this. You know, he can't believe that Five just wants to sort of effectively get drunk. He's got no motivation to try and solve anything around this. Yeah. He's ready to almost go it alone. And then you have Lila saying to him, you know, but it's the wedding. You've got to stay. It's either you fight the apocalypse or you spend it with me, but you can't have both. And in the end, you know, that Mr. Lone Wolf who met a crazy lady, says, "I want to be with you, you know, I choose you." And so all his sort of instincts of always on the fight, always looking for the defense, always trying to sort of protect the family, and his new beginning, his next 24 to 48 hours is he's made the decision to be with Lila, to be a father. I mean, we even have Reggie say, you know, "You would have made a good father."
Yes, we do.
It's a shame it's come to this, you know, that there's no time left for it, where you get that awkward introduction of Reggie to Diego and Lila.
Yes, you say awkward, but is that the nicest he's ever been to another person after meeting Lila?
Well, it starts off awkward, I should say, for sure. And Lila seems quite taken with him. Yeah. Despite his crazy habit of eating deviled eggs with a knife and fork.
But
the mushy peas. Think about the mushy peas, man.
Yeah. Exactly. They
have that feeling.
They have the connection of, you know, knowing the best fish and chip shop in the world.
I do want to go to Whitechapel now and actually try that. I'm hoping that they actually pulled that from a real fish and chip shop in Whitechapel, because that would be cool. And I will go there when I'm in London to try it, and I will report back if there is a fish and chip shop named like that they name in this show.
We'll have to just Google it before you go all the way to the UK and find out, Chris, that it doesn't exist. How about that?
It's fine.
And they're probably wrong.
Play drive. I'm okay with that.
always seaside resorts. It's probably Blackpool that has the best fish and chips in the UK, right? Has to be a seaside resort.
It's Wigan, without a shadow of a
there you
doubt.
go.
Or yeah. But that's more pine chips, I'd say.
Oh, very good, very good.
With gravy, I hasten to add.
The nuances of the UK and their mushy peas on the side, of course.
Well, I think it's also around in Wigan or Bolton. You get black peas and it's with vinegar on it. Yes.
So, Brolly Dollies and Academy alumni, if you are dialing in from the UK and listening to our dulcet tones, please let us know on facebook.com/TV Podcast Industries what you think the best fish and chip shop is in the UK. Even our American colleagues, anyone who wants to weigh in, fish and chips, where is the best? In Ireland, it's Beshoff's. It's Beshoff's chips, and they are some of the best. They're in Dublin City Centre. You can get them. They're great.
Yeah.
They are very
good. But
we're
not here to talk about fish and chips. We are here to finish off our discussion on this wedding.
Yes. Anything else about the wedding itself?
For me, I just want to see that photo, the group photo. That's a lovely way to end or announce season 4. I think that's the bit when they kind of like, this is the end, goodbye. It's a nice photo. If it's not, because you can just superimpose Paco on there. And if it's not, it's the like, I don't know, some form of the wedding photo kind of ripped or torn or something and to signify what's happening in season 4.
You're making me sad, Chris. You're making me sad. We still got 2 more episodes to go of this season, so let's not talk about it possibly ending until it has ended. I want a copy of that photograph of Klaus and Lila together, because Robert Sheehan's face when he sees the bulb explode in front of him looked hilarious. So I'd love to see that photograph.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. John, do you want to take us on with your big moment from season 3, episode 8?
Yeah, I think it's Klaus and Reggie. I want to kind of preface this though with the fact that Reggie owns the Hotel Obsidian. And not only does he own it, he found the location where to build it and gave the exact plans to the builders, who were fairly confused on how to build the Hotel Obsidian.
Yes.
And we do see him sending a load of soldiers to their death. And the soldiers saying, you want them all dead. So whatever is on the other side, Reggie is wanting them dead. And in the end, it's all the soldiers that die, by the looks of it.
Yes.
So, whether they manage to get a shot off, who knows? And that will kind of link, I guess, ultimately to my final part of this point, because Klaus and Reggie returned to the hotel, presumably before all roads got taken off into outer space. And we see here that the receptionist, Chet Rodo, recognizes him. And I think what's really good with Reggie's arc here is just, he turns up, he's not kind of acting like Klaus thought he might do. He's all about the mission, that they've got to start the training. There can't be any wedding while Rome burns. And in the end, he's being too dad for them. Yes. And Luther says, nobody wants you, spaces are limited. So it suddenly comes into this lovely wedding crasher scenario where Klaus is, again, another little nice bit of the wedding ceremony. It is trying to, go round, sort of test the waters, advocate for Reggie to actually be there. And in the end, Lila tells him to back off, don't start filling Diego's sort of empty head with full of ideas, all this kind of stuff, to the point that when Reggie arrives, it just gives this lovely awkwardness and tension to the scene of him arriving, where he ultimately sits pretty much on his own, fondling around with a deviled egg, until he's introduced to Lila by Diego. But it's the speech, that despite it, they're all kind of looking at him going, I didn't expect that. He's sort of kind in this, and effectively Sloane summing it up with, that was an emotional speech reciting a weirdly moving death poem,
at a wedding.
But it's a side of Reggie that they haven't seen before, and they are taken aback by that. Yet, post ceremony, we see Five in the drunken Five, very drunk Five, in fact, overhearing Reggie and someone else saying, this can't wait, I can't do it without you. And the question immediately rises, well, who is this? And so, I mean, my only theory on this is
it's Chet.
It could be Chet. It could be Chet indeed, given, there is the that acknowledgement of who he is. So, I mean, it's definitely a possibility, but I was thinking, my kind of theory was that it was Alison, because she has left the party, and maybe he's trying to get her to rumor all the group to effectively go to Oblivion to finish off the job that he wasn't able to do after the grand opening of Hotel Obsidian. So interesting. We've heard this mission spoken about by Paco. All this. So again, to the point, yes, Reggie might be a little soft under that turtle shell, as Klaus says, and certainly wrinkly, but it's still all about the mission.
Yes,
it's just how he's packaged it. Effectively,
he played the part really, really well. Kind of taking the guidance from Klaus here, but he's still on mission, and he thought this was the only way I could get them back on track. Be polite for half an hour, give them a speech like I'm actually their father, and then they might follow me down the path of joining back up together and fighting against Oblivion, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this was just really sort of nicely done. In amongst everything else, it was really good.
Yeah. I love the character of Hargreaves. Like, he's just, like, he is that, the man you love to hate throughout the season, and you keep getting these hints of a better man from a different timeline, a different universe.
Definitely.
And you're like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, maybe he's the hero. And then they've made Alison the villain. He's the hero. It's going to be cool. And no, like, just straight at the end.
Not on this show.
It's not on this show. Like, he is the bad lizard man. Like, he is the bad lizard man. And it has to be Alison. Unfortunately, they signposted it, i.e., like, making her the villain and villainous activities. And we've talked about her becoming the villain. And they're like, now, if they zig, and we all think they're zagging, then that's great. Like, if they do pull the rug out from us. I'm telling you. No, but like, that is cool. If it turns out to be someone completely different, then you're like, oh my god, like, we thought it was going to be Alison for this whole time, and actually it's Sloane. She secretly is like just a double agent. Like, that would be just, I can't wait for that. But let's wait.
So here's the alternate. So what Reggie was actually saying was, I need to clean up this hotel in 24 hours because the end of the world's happening, and I can't do it without you, chat. There you go.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
It's probably not that.
No, it's not definitely not
that. Any other thoughts on the episode that we haven't covered?
Well, I was just going to add as well, and Sloane would have to have given one hell of an excuse to get away from Luther on their wedding night.
That's very true. Yes, that's very true.
That's true. I did not think that. Yes.
Any other final thoughts on the episode before we close out our discussion on season 3, episode 8?
That buffet looked amazing. Very much nice. Very nice.
Yes, lots of nice big pieces of lamb there. Did you notice a little trouble in paradise between Sloane and Luther when he asked to eat the meat off her plate?
Yeah, the lamb chop incident.
There's a little bit of I'm not one for sharing there from Sloane.
Yeah.
Joey doesn't share food.
There you go. just one other line that I really liked from the episode, and from my notes, I really liked 5 explaining his plan of having no plan as its conscientious objection, embrace the apocalypse. Really like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent stuff. The only note that I've got really is just the cockroaches. You know, again, we see Reggie stamping on one right at the opening after all his soldiers and mercenaries have effectively died in Oblivion. And then we see one sort of jumping out of the camera. Maybe it's as simple as cockroaches survive anything, like even, you know, nuclear war. But it seems like, you know, we saw them in Hotel Oblivion as well. So there is that element to it. Maybe this is another alien species, sort of Starship Trooper-esque.
Maybe.
That is the mortal enemy of Reggie's species. What, you know, the reason why they had to sort of leave their planet or something, who knows? But cockroaches.
Or maybe it's just a gag about the Hotel Obsidian being a cockroach hotel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good stuff. That's it for our discussion on episode 8 of the series. Overall, John, what did you think of the episode?
I really enjoyed this episode. It's another 4.5 cosmic shitters out of 5, to quote Lila.
Okay.
Yeah, really. I just thought it was nicely done. It was, it just was that kind of stand back, that breath. Where are these relationships? And in the context of the wedding, you know, it was new relationships such as new Ben, or with Diego committing to Lila after the last episode. It was Klaus, what he thinks was the new Reggie, turning out really to be the same Reggie, just repackaged in order to stay on mission. You know, the intrigue of who that might be, who Reggie is talking to, the tension with Allison and Viktor, and the sulkiness of Ben. It all, you know, at the edge of the universe, at the end of the universe. Really thought it played out these new beginnings, for people, for good or for worse. So yeah, 4.5 cosmic shitters out of 5.
Good stuff. Yeah, another good character episode. I enjoyed those moments, but it just made me feel the ending of the series coming, and I wonder if it's the end of the show coming up. But did enjoy it. I thought there was some great character moments in here once again with the show. Chris, what did you think overall yourself?
I enjoyed this episode. I felt it did slam on the brakes quite hard. And there was nothing wrong with that. I think it stopped the story. The story beats the at the pace we were getting for the last kind of few episodes, but decided to just focus on more kind of just giving the characters a bit of room to breathe and like move forward, not grow, but move forward just with their storylines individually. And it's just it was fun. I'm interested to see if this is the end. I think that's the thing. If this is the end, then that's good. It'll be interesting to see if that's where we leave some of these characters, for example.
And as we say, we don't watch the episodes ahead, so this could be just the breath before the plunge, or
it really could.
The quiet before the storm, as they say. So, so we will see when we get on to the next episode of Umbrella Academy. John, let's go on over for a celebratory drink at the wedding of Luther and Sloane. Let's go on over to the Hotel Obsidian Lounge, which does still exist. Even 8 episodes into the show. The Hotel Obsidian Lounge is still here.
Clean up that wedding booze in the lounge for sure. Make sure you get those shots to dunk in your, I guess it was wine or champagne. It could have been beer in a wine glass, of course, that 5 was drinking. But yes, fellow quizzers, fellow brollies, episode 8 leads us nicely on to question 8. What is the dress code for Luther and Sloane's wedding?
Classic. Very good. I don't have to be wedding related for this episode,
It really
right?
is.
So, good stuff. John, do you want to get the question one last time?
Yes. What is the dress code for Luther and Sloane's wedding?
8 questions so far. Hope you're gathering all the answers together. Email us at the end of the series with your answers to all 10 questions to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com to be in with the chance of getting your hands on some Umbrella Academy goodies.
Indeed. We have some feedback here. Messages from the end of the universe, dare I say it. Remember, fellow Brollies, you can send in any thoughts on the remaining 2 episodes of Umbrella Academy to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, or you can go onto our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/TV Podcast Industries to any one of the spoiler posts for the Umbrella Academy. If you want to hear your voice, you can also go to our website at tvpodcastindustries.com, where you can leave 90 seconds of your thoughts. Just head on over to the tab on the right-hand side of the webpage. So let us get on to our piece of feedback from Dr. Bob Phillips on episode 8. He says, "Aww, finally we get to meet the other alumni of the Chris Jones's Singing Academy." Yes, no wonder the universe is crumbling around the Hotel Obsidian.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's referring to the entire cast doing that terrible karaoke, or whether it's just 5 on his own singing a song that nobody else seems to know.
Probably. It is the pulse from Chris's mouth as he Kugel blitzes the world, the galaxy, the universe with his dulcet singing.
There you go.
Or not. Yes, indeed.
The universe will not end with a bang, a whimper, or a pop. It will end with me hitting the perfect note and actually getting a C sharp, and then the world goes, we're done, out.
Everybody gets one, Chris.
Yes. Or attempting to reach the perfect note.
There you go.
Yes.
There you
No,
go.
because I will actually end up getting the right resonance, and you know that
That's
when you
true.
resonate too much together, the glass shatters.
You will turn into an opera singer for 1 second as you get the pitch perfect to break the glass, except you shatter the world. Indeed. But anyway, we digress because, yes, Dr. Bob Phillips continues. And Klaus winkles the little soft squidgy innards from Reggie and Benny, perhaps. I can't yet work out if the interdimensional door is the reason for the end of the world, or the MacGuffin that will save the world, or a complete red herring. Still, building one hotel and a city forming around it must be the ultimate. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, indeed. I think those are. I think they're definitely the options here. Is it a red herring, the MacGuffin that will save the world? Given what Old Five said in his death can, or is it the reason for it, or is it the cockroaches emanating from
Potentially,
it?
yes.
Maybe that thing that we didn't fully see was some kind of
Massive cockroach.
evolved cockroach master trained in the arts of karate, jiu-jitsu, you name it.
Well, there's only one person that knows. The entirety of our audience who've already seen episode 9 and 10.
Trying to build it up here.
Or do you know what it could be? If anyone has seen the modern classic that is Joe's Apartment, the singing cockroaches. That is what it is. Hotel Oblivion is actually Joe's Apartment. It is the crossover no one asked for and no one thought was coming.
And no one expected. Excellent stuff. Thanks so much for your feedback, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
Dr. Bob.
And thanks everybody else for sticking with us. If you want to share your thoughts on the show as we're going through to the last couple of episodes this season, make sure you email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. This episode of TV Podcast Industries, episode 8 of Umbrella Academy, was brought to you by our patrons, including Skyrocker. Thank you, Skyrocker, for your support. Really, really appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Skyrocker.
Yes, and if you want to be like Skyrocker, you can head on over to patreon.com/TV Podcast Industries, where you can support us for any ongoing monthly amount, help keep the lights on and the hamsters running in their wheels. But if you want to do a one-off donation, you can head on over to buymeacoffee.com/TV TVPI, where you can keep our illustrious editor and producer caffeinated.
Yes, lots of editing at the moment with doing this show on Umbrella Academy and also covering the wonderful Sandman over on Netflix as well. So lots going on at the moment, and very soon we'll be in the courtroom again with She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
Yes, but before that, we will be back with the penultimate episode of Umbrella Academy Season 3, Episode 9, 7 Bells.
We've had a wedding and now we've got the bells afterwards.
Yes, of hell. No doubt.
Yeah, exactly. That's where my brain went. The 7 Bells of Hell.
I'm totally in
why
wedding
we're
mode
friends.
at the moment. That's probably why.
There you go.
Good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us, fellow Academy alumni. We'll talk to you again next time.
Yes. Ta-ta for now.
Yes, thank you so much, fellow Brawlies. Remember, keep watching, keep listening, and keep learning. Bye.
Yes, and don't forget, tell us where the best fish and chip shop is that you think. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.